What's going on, everyone? So, the Meeks Twins, an upcoming Scream 7. A lot of questions about what's going to happen with them. They are expected to team up with Gale Weathers, and that is how they end up linking up with Sidney Prescott later on down the road. They are expected to kind of show up at some point after the first act. And look, the Meeks Twins kind of the bleed in from the last two films, two of the kind of core four into this upcoming Scream movie. Not just that, but the Meeks Twins make a lot of sense to kind of get involved. Their history with Randy being their uncle, and then obviously their mom and Sidney having a relationship. It's just you can have an argument to be made of like, hey, they do make more sense than Sam and Tara necessarily getting involved, right? Like Sam and Tara, like Sidney didn't go help them, right? She went to go there to go avenge Dewey Riley, right? So it's like, with the sisters, the Carpenter sisters, would they come and help Sidney? I mean, probably, if they asked, but the Meeks Twins, I think for sure would, because, again, just the history and the relationship and things like that, and their connection with Gale Weathers. But a lot of questions about, are they going to live? Are they going to die? Did a whole video breaking them down potentially as Ghostface. Do at some point want to kind of do individual breakdowns of each character as Ghostface, kind of go more in depth individually, because I do think the idea of them kind of together being the Ghostface, having like the first, not brother and sister because of the the most recent film, but like the first twins and whatnot. Like there's a lot of like history that could be made by the twins actually being Ghostface, and then them living or dying. I mean, you look at them as characters, right? And every Scream movie, they've essentially, especially Chad. I mean, Chad has been like brutally attacked. Like Mindy's attacks, her surviving, like especially Scream 5. Like Scream 5, she gets like stabbed in the shoulder. It's like, okay, like she could survive that. And then she gets like stabbed in the gut, and it's like left for dead. That one, yes, that's more likely to survive than what Chad went through in Scream 6, where he was, I mean, essentially butchered head to toe by multiple Ghostface. And so, it is kind of one of those things, like, are they going to live or die? Now, there's a lot of rumors kind of both ways I've seen, and at least at this point, obviously, be careful online, especially as we inch closer to the upcoming Scream movie. You're going to start getting more and more rumors, more and more details about the film. Once we actually get the trailer and, more and more people have seen the movie, you're going to get more and more insight in the film. So again, always, take everything right now with a grain of salt, but, also tread lightly as we progress closer to February, because things are going to start getting very real here. But to me, if you're going to kill them, I don't mind if you want to kill the Meeks Twins. Right? If you're going to do it, fine. Do you kill both? To me, it depends on like the manner in which you kill both, right? Like if it's a cool kind of thing where, maybe Chad and Mindy, because if Chad's supposed to be kind of like the new Joel and the cameraman, and then Mindy's going to kind of be like the reporter, like, trying to take over the Gale Weathers side of things, it would be kind of cool if they kind of got or stuck their nose into something that they shouldn't have. Right? They kind of, they stumble across whatever, a Ghostface cult or something, like them having a meeting or something. They're trying to get a look at who the killers are. So, all this can be over and they can give it to the police or whatever and end up getting caught. Like that is something that I think could be cool. And then you just have some like epic, like, kill moment or something, or, maybe they record and send it to Gale of them just getting brutally, just demolished essentially. Again, creativity, execution, delivery, storytelling, all those things can really play a role either way. Now, again, my problem with the Meeks Twins, right, is they haven't really served like a purpose. You think of Randy, like in Gale and Dewey and Sidney, right? Them carrying over multiple films. They at least served a purpose. There was a point to their characters. There was backstory to the characters. There was, development to the characters, right? You got more insight. And I just feel like we've had two movies with Chad and Mindy, and we still don't know who they really are as characters, right? Like Randy, for example. Like, Mindy's the new voice of the audience, but nothing she says is correct. Right? But the problem is, like, that's fine if you're doing it in, like, a bit of a comical sense. The problem is you're not doing it in a bit of comical sense. Like, Scream 6 had, like, a 3-minute rant, and the closest thing we got to it to actually happening was when Chad ducked and the mannequin's head got knocked off, and he goes, "Oh, decapitation." Right? Outside of that, literally, a 3-minute rant went nowhere. And that's the problem. They keep doing these things. And then Chad's, like, Dewey, don't get me wrong. Like, Dewey, it was kind of like a running joke. He gets that. But he wasn't getting brutalized like Chad. Right? Like, to me, it just feels like pick a lane, pick a direction with these characters. I'm fine if you have them survive and live, but build them, develop them, grow them. Right? Like, again, I still to this day have not heard anybody be able to explain who Mindy is as a character. It's always like generalized stuff, right? Like, or it's just like stuff that's just very generic, right? Like Randy, we knew a lot about him, right? We knew his love for movies, his love for the rules. We knew that, he had this love obsession. He was kind of the goof, the class clown, but, he also was like popular and hung out with friends and he had his own little clique in his group, but like, he's hooking up with chicks in the back of the video store and getting fired once a week. And, it just, again, his monologues, like everything he said came to fruition. Like it was true. Like you got, like it actually served purpose. His monologues actually made sense, right? And then even the things like, where Sydney breaks the rule, right? Like, that was the whole point. Like, she is the outlier. She's the exception to the rule, right? It's why, Stu, you gave it up. Them's the rules type thing, right? So, again, everything with Ray, like, there was purpose, there was point. Right? Even Tatum, we knew a lot about Tatum and how she was. And, and again, it's just like, you got Chad and Mindy, and it's like, okay, Chad's kind of like the surrogate big brother, and he's, looking out for everybody. Mindy's kind of can be a little obnoxious and stuff, and likes to go on these, like, tangents and stuff. It's just, but, like, who are they? Like, Gale, we got an insane arc. I've talked about it. Like, I think Gale has had the best character development out of any character in the Scream franchise. I mean, look at her from Scream 96 to the last film, right? Like, really, I'd argue Scream 5, but Scream 6 didn't really do her justice in any way, right? But like, she went from, or even just the 1 through 4, right? Like, she went from somebody that would have pushed you to the ground so Ghostface could have gotten you just so she could have gotten the story, to her being a stay-at-home wife and trying to be more Dewey-esque and stuff. Like, you just got all this growth. Hey, like, if you can't tell a good story with the characters, or you can't find a way and you don't really know how you want to, the direction in which you want to go with the characters, then fine, kill them. Right? Like, honestly, if you can't tell me a good story, then kill them. Right? Otherwise, you need to develop them. And hopefully with them kind of being attached to Gale, and you can get some more dialogue and, get a little more personable with them. Right? I'm hoping that is something that can kind of continue to help, right? I'm hoping that is something that can, help build those characters, right? Whether you make them Ghostface or you make them, Ghostface fodder or whatever, there needs to be purpose, right? In their characters, development in their characters. And if you do right by that, then I'm fine. Like, keep them alive. If we can, I don't mind establishing characters for multiple films if it makes sense. If there is a point, if there is a reason, if you look at said characters and you're like, okay, this means this, right? But if it's just, they're just there to just be there, then it's like, what's the point? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? Either way, I'd love to hear it. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.